hard to pinpoint the first time I heard the Eagles' Hotel California. Not because it didn't leave a mark, far from it, but because it's one of those albums that just feels like it's always been playing, somewhere in the air, behind the scenes of life's quieter moments, or blasting unapologetically from a weathered turntable in someone's basement studio. It's an album that doesn't ask to be remembered. It insists. If you're someone who likes to experience the music, not just hear it, if you obsess over how the warmth of a pressing hits your ears on a pair of Bowers and Wilkins or vintage tannoys, if the hiss before the first note matters to you as much as the crescendo that follows, then Hotel California lives in your sonic bloodstream too. I'm not here to romanticize it blindly. I'm here to walk through it like a lived-in house, pointing out the scars, the polish, the voices, and the haunted beauty that makes it one of the most immersive listens ever pressed to wax. For audiophiles, vinyl collectors, music discovery seekers, and anyone who breathes in the soul of a great mix, the Eagles' Hotel California, 1976, is a record you don't just revisit, you inhabit it. From the second the 12-string opens, Hotel California whispers secrets. Don Felder's demo riff, born on a beach in Malibu, stitched together with tequila and tape, evolved into something bigger than he ever imagined. That descending chord progression sounds like a spiral staircase into somewhere beautiful and dangerous. You feel it instantly on a clean vinyl pressing. The snare is crisp but not digital. The kick drum has body. There's space between instruments. Real air. By the time Don Henley starts singing "On a Dark Desert Highway," you're no longer where you were a minute ago. That's the mark of a true experience. That's why Eagles, Hotel California. Experience of music isn't a tagline for me. It's an instruction. Lyrically, this is California as a mirage. The American dream with its makeup smudged. A hotel you can never leave, yes. But also a life of luxury, fame, and disillusionment that traps just as much as it shines. And then comes a solo. Felder and Joe Walsh go into a 2-minute trance together. The phrase in between the two guitars is a dance, a duel, and a funeral march all at once. This isn't a solo, it's a statement. It redefined what could be done in 6 strings and 2 minutes. You flip the side or let the needle roll on, and Glenn Frey eases in like a memory. New Kid in Town is one of the most underrated songs in the Eagles' entire discography. On the surface, it's gentle, easy listening, even, but let it hit you on a quiet night, especially on vinyl, and it tears right through. This is Frey showing you the cost of being seen, the fragility of fame, the silence that follows applause. Bernie Leadon had just left the band, and there's a bittersweetness in the harmonies that feels like a group knowing change is coming, but unsure of what's next. As someone who studies records not just as music, but as emotional time capsules, this song is a quiet heartbreak with polished shoes. The layering of acoustic and electric here is meticulous. Every reverb tail, every background vocal, perfectly placed but not sterile. This is studio magic used for storytelling, not just shine. Joe Walsh's fingerprints are all over life in the fast lane, and thank God for it. This track kicks the door in with that riff. Dirty, sharp, unforgettable. I've heard it through tube amps, Class A power, even on a battered Alpine head unit in a 1992 Camaro. It always slaps. The groove is Don Henley at his finest. Locked in. No flash. Just grit. The lyrics spill out like a confessional from someone who's seen the party, lived it, and barely made it back. For those who collect for sound, this track is a good one to test your rig's transient response. Walsh's solo bites hard, then pulls back with surgical control. It's a driving track in every sense of the word, sonically, lyrically, emotionally. Then we downshift, and it hurts. Waste of time is Henley bleeding out quietly on the mic. The orchestration here is pure heartbreak cinema. I remember hearing it on an original Asylum pressing through a pair of Bose 901s and thinking, this is what regret sounds like. The reprise that follows at the end of side A, a needle-only moment. It doesn't stream well. It barely translates digitally. But on wax, with some warmth under the needle, it's a curtain falling on something heavy. This is the kind of track you sit with, not skip through. Henley pushed hard to keep Victim of Love raw. They recorded most of it live, straight through, and you can tell it's got an energy that feels more like a bar band with $1 million budget than a polished studio machine. It's a rocker, and for vinyl lovers, this track hits with punch. The guitars are thick, the drums forward, and the mix has a touch of dangerous. It's a reminder that beneath the harmonies and perfect production, the Eagles could rip it up when they wanted to. Pretty Maids All in a Row is that track everyone forgets until they sit down with the record and let it play through. It's tender, it's reflective, and in the right system with the right room treatment. It feels like it's being played just for you. I've heard audiophiles use this track to test mid-range detail, and rightly so. That Rhodes electric piano floats in space like a thought not fully formed. Walsh's vocal is raw and imperfect, which makes it perfect. Randy Meisner, the unsung glue of the band's early years. This was his last record with the Eagles, and he left behind a song that aches with hope. There's a purity to try and love again that reminds us where this band started. Harmony-driven, rootsy, wide open. If you're ever looking for a track that showcases soundstage and vocal blending, this is it. On a good system, you can map out where every instrument sits. Close your eyes, and they're right there in the room. The Closer, The Moral, The Reckoning. The last resort is Henley preaching with the full weight of the 20th century on his shoulders. It's sprawling, it's angry, it's beautiful. It's the most important song they ever wrote. This is a track that makes audiophiles lean in. The dynamics are masterful. The piano is warm, yet full of mourning. The lyrics carry more than just commentary. They carry consequence. You don't leave this song smiling. You leave changed. Don Henley was the axis. His voice had gravity, half preacher, half prophet, with a delivery that never just told a story, it warned you. Listen to Hotel California, the title track. That opening verse doesn't just unfold. It casts a spell, and Henley's vocal is a hand pulling you into the mirror. But beyond the mic, he was also the drummer, and not just timekeeper, tonekeeper, that tight, dry snare, the precision of the fills, the locked-in pocket on Life in the Fast Lane. That was Henley controlling the heartbeat, always with a little menace just under the skin. He gave the songs weight, purpose, drama. Glenn Frey was the architect of cool. While Henley brought tension, Frey gave it glide. Listen to his vocals on New Kid in Town. Smooth, wistful, conversational. He could sing Heartbreak without ever raising his voice. Frey also co-wrote most of the album and played keys and guitar throughout, often acting as a glue between the band's sharper edges. He wasn't flashy. He was essential. He understood the value of restraint and used it like a weapon. Joe Walsh, the wild card, the curveball, the swagger. When Walsh joined, the band sound changed overnight. They got grit. Walsh's solos weren't polished. They were possessed. That jaw-dropping dual guitar climax on Hotel California, Walsh and Felder, note for note, locked in a conversation that still echoes through every guitar store in the country. His slide work on Pretty Maids All in a Row is aching and loose, like a Barcel confession at closing time. Walsh wasn't just a hired gun. He was the edge the Eagles needed to sound dangerous. Don Felder was a melodic genius behind the curtain. It was his demo that became the spine of Hotel California, that now legendary 12-string guitar progression that opened a portal to something surreal. Felder's playing was precise and haunting, especially in how he layered textures without overwhelming the track. While Walsh brought dirt and fire, Felder brought architecture. The harmonized solos? That was him mapping out a journey. He made the complex sound effortless. Randy Meisner, the quiet one, played bass and sang like his heart might break if he didn't get the words out. His playing across the record is fluid and soulful, never showing off, always serving the song. On Try and Love Again, the only track he sings lead on, there's a tenderness in his delivery that's hard to fake. Meisner was the emotional center of the band, the one who grounded all the drama with a wide-open sincerity. Bill Shimchick, deserves its own shrine in the Hi-Fi Hall of Fame. The mixes here don't just sound good, they feel intentional. The balance, the warmth, the air between the notes. This wasn't just captured, it was sculpted. Behind the board, shaping it all, was that team of engineers, producers, and arrangers. But it was the artists themselves who carved the foundation. This wasn't a band phoning it in. They were chasing something big. You can hear the tension between precision and chaos. You can feel the push and pull of personalities, egos, exhaustion, and ambition all press into the grooves. You lived Hotel California. Every part, every solo, every backing vocal. These were the sounds of artists at the peak of their powers, bending the studio to their will, even as it tested their bonds. That's why it still hits. Because these weren't just musicians. They were alchemists, each one turning their own piece of pain, beauty, paranoia, and poetry into gold. For a certain tribe of listeners, this album is more than classic rock. It's a rite of passage. It's the album you test new gear with. It's the album you introduce to someone when you're trying to show them why vinyl still matters. The original pressing on Asylum is still prized. Audiophile reissues, especially for mobile fidelity, get studied and debated like ancient texts. There are message boards dedicated to gear setups that bring out the right echo in the last resort. There are entire YouTube channels built around reinterpreting the solos from Hotel California. Note by note, tone by tone. This isn't nostalgia. This is communion. When I sit with Hotel California today, usually with a sip or two of something smoky and the lights down, I don't just hear a record. I feel a world. I feel the myth of California slipping through its own fame. I feel players at their peak, trying to outrun their own shadow. I feel sound as story, etched into grooves that still hum with purpose. If you love music for the way it moves, for the way it remembers, for the way it refuses to be background noise, if you live to experience the music, then Hotel California will always have a room waiting. And trust me, once you check in, you'll never want to leave. That's it for today's episode of Life in Motion's Experience the Music. If you like this, make sure to subscribe to my Experience the Music YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram at KP Life in Motion for more real talk on experiencing the music. Both links are available in the description below.